And good evening, everybody, and welcome to Going Nuclear, full-blown coverage of the land. I'm Ethan Greenberg. Alongside of me, my co-host Drew Hagenbaugh and Mike Pellegrini. We are part of the Land Multimedia Group. Thank you all for tuning in. Last night, we got to give you a little special post-game presser as the Cavs were big winners, so that was fun. But we're here tonight to do just your regular old episode. Mike, Drew, how are we doing this evening? Mike, what's happening there? You still have a bit of a hangover from last night?
No, I'm good, mate. I'm just relieved that the Cavs got it done last night. So my mood was a bit better today compared to what it would have been if they'd lost.
Absolutely. How about you, Drew?
Yeah, no, I was able to sleep more comfortably last night, knowing that the Cavs got it done and made sleeping a lot easier.
It's absolutely true. You lose when you. I don't know. I know we're kind of crazy. Yeah. We must be crazy in most people's eyes because we let sports results affect our mood and sleep. But it's just something about being a fanatic that causes these types of things. So, anyway, a great result last night, as most of you should know by now. And if you didn't, I don't know what rock you've been living under. The Cavs with a big win last night over the Raptors, Game 5 down at Rocket Arena with a 125-120 win, taking a 3-2 lead in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs in the best-of-7 series. The big surprise, Dennis Schroeder comes off the bench, 19 points, sparked a Cleveland comeback. He had 11 points in the fourth quarter. He was playing so well that apparently Spida, Donovan Mitchell, was told or asked to enter the game, and he declined and deferred to Schroeder because he was, I think he used a terminology, he was cooking. And so I guess my question to you guys is this, because we were talking about it last night. Did you notice Mitchell's not in there and so on and so forth? Were you shocked when you heard this press conference clip about Mitchell and talking about why he wasn't in there any sooner? Mike, what did you hear? What did you think about that?
Well, in the heat of the moment, it was like, is he injured? Like, why is he only playing like 15 minutes in the first half of a game that the Cavs basically have to win? And then when it came after the game, that basically Dennis Schroeder was having such a good game that Mitchell basically told Kenny Atkinson that he needs to leave him in, and that was it him and Evan Mobley with Jude?
Yes,
can you remember correctly?
Yes.
And he basically told coach, "No, we've got the hot hand out there, leave him in." And to be honest, I still don't know what to think of it because, like, I kind of agree with the decision, but then you've got players telling the coach, "No, your idea is not very good."
Right.
You're like rushing the guys back in. Like, I still don't know what to like think of the situation because you've got a player telling the coach what to do in kind of a way. So I just don't know. Like they were saying on ESPN Cleveland today, they were like they don't even know what to make of it because like,
yeah, it's a level of, okay, this is your coach. Are you showing a level of respect? I'll bring up another point, but in a moment, Drew, I wanted to get your take on it, but I
definitely think it was the right decision though to leave him in the game. I'm going to make that
absolutely. Clear. I do think it was the right decision. What did you make of it, Drew? And do you think it was the right decision, or was it the right decision only because it worked?
No, I do believe it was the right decision, and I give a lot of credit to Mitchell and Mobley because I think that's a leadership thing to do. Is to be like, listen, if it's working, don't. It's the saying. If it's working, don't stop it. Like, so. He saw that, hey, he was cooking. The team out there was doing really well. They're playing good defense. They were scoring they're getting buckets. And so it's like, hey, leave those guys in. They're rocking right now. Leave the guys who are rocking because any changes at any point could ruin the run. It could ruin anything. So as of right now, until a timeout happens or something, keep it going, keep it rocking. So I think it was a right call by Mitchell and Mobley to say, hey, listen, we're gonna chill here for a moment because he's getting buckets. These guys are scoring. These guys are doing well. So why stop it? Why stop the momentum now? Wait for it to die a little bit before we go in.
And that's what ultimately ended up happening. I know there was a lot of discussion about how is this, if at all, different than a couple years ago when JB was still the coach and Donovan Mitchell's coming down the court and JB's telling him to hurry up or to do something and he waved him off. He's like, nah, I got this. How does that fit into that? But what just came to mind in talking about a player telling the coach what to do, I'm pretty certain LeBron at some point or another said, nah, they drew up a play and he's like, no, the ball is going to me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys recall it was like during a playoff game, and I don't know who they wanted the ball to go to, but he nixed that and said, "No, the ball is coming to me," or whatever it was. But does that sound?
Didn't they? If I remember correctly, because they were talking about this on ESPN today, and wasn't it like they wanted LeBron to inbound the ball, and he was like, no. He was like, no, I'm not doing that. Give it to I can't remember who it was now. Who did he give it to?
Didn't Kevin or somebody inbound it?
Yeah, I think it might have been Kevin Love or someone.
Right. So I think that there's a certain level of gravitas and cachet that players have that they can do that. If you're the last guy on the bench, you're not saying that. If you're Tyrese Proctor, a rookie, you're not saying, no, coach, I'm not going. I mean, it's different. And they mentioned the Rodney Hood issues with him not wanting to go to. I mean, that's a totally different situation. I don't mind it at all. I really don't mind it. And Dennis Schroeder, not only was his play on the court a thing of beauty and really important in the game, apparently he also spoke at halftime for about 2 to 3 minutes. I guess it was a impassioned speech about what was needed for the team to come back. Drew, I'll go to you first. Do you think the Schroeder acquisition was just as important, if not more important, than the Harden acquisition?
I mean, yeah, and I know a lot of people might think it's crazy, but again, this is a guy who's played how many years in the league? About 14 years or so now, 13 years, 14 years in the league. He is a big veteran presence in the locker room, and he's probably the bigger veteran in the locker room, more than James Harden, or just as much as James Harden. I mean, they've played for now kind of close, maybe Harden a little bit longer, but, they played around the same amount of time. So, his voice is just as big as anyone else's in that locker room. So if anything, I would listen to what he had to say because, again, he's probably been in moments like this more than half that locker room. So if anyone, I'd listen to him. And he's been in he's played for half the league at this point too. So he knows different situations of what he's been in. And hey, if he's a guy to motivate, let him motivate and let him, talk. I'd listen to any veteran that was out there.
Absolutely. Mike, what do you think about that? I mean, was Schroeder or is Schroeder just as important of an acquisition as Harden that the Cavs made those moves before the trade deadline?
It goes back to, remember when the Cavs won the championship in 2016, we had those veteran voices on the bench like Champ Jones, whatever you could.
James Jones.
James Jones. You had the other Jones. What was his name? Was it DeJuan? No, not DeJuan Jones.
DeJuan Jones, yeah.
No. I know exactly. Dante Jones, who came in Game 6.
Yeah, and they didn't get many minutes, but they were veteran present in the locker room. And I'm sure I remember correctly, I think one of them had done a speech at some point in the finals, if I remember correctly.
Probably was Champ. It was probably
I think it was, yeah. Plus, we forgot that Dennis Schroeder is an NBA champion. He won it. He won the COVID championship with the Lakers.
Hey, it's a championship. It's a
championship, so he knows what it takes to get across the line. And so we kind of need that leadership in this team because, let's be real, outside Harden and a couple others, this team is relatively unexperienced and young still. So you kind of need that veteran voice, I guess, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah,
definitely. And it kind of sucked that last year that Max Strus, he tried to be that guy and tried to be the veteran voice before Game 5 against the Pacers. Unfortunately, his game didn't show up with his motivational speech, which kind of stunk, but it is what it is. Last night, another thing that happened, Kenny Atkinson made the change to the starting lineup. He inserts Max Strus for Dean Wade, and it appeared to be a tremendous failure. Do you think Kenny will go back to Wade in the starting 5 for Game 6? And do you think he will, do you think he'll go back to this lineup just simply considering how badly things went with Strus in the starting spot, Mike?
Well, I mentioned it last night. Like, I think for it's game 6, isn't it? Yeah, it's game 6.
Yes.
I think we need to come out with authority on the defensive end first. So I would start like Dean Wade personally, because you need to set the tone on that end of the floor, especially on the road. Like, you need to show that physicality early on and let the other team know that you're not going to be pushed around. And whether the refs are blowing whistles or not, if they're calling fouls or not, you just need to show that energy early on. So I think starting Dean Wade over Max Strus and going back to that, in my personal opinion, would be the decision I'd go with.
Right. Drew, where do you stand on that issue of the will he go? Should he go back to him? And will he go back to Dean Wade? You know, just because he should doesn't mean he will. What do you got?
I mean, I agree with Mike. I think he should go back into the starting 5 because, again, it's a big defensive asset. And we saw how quickly we went down, 10-2 to start the game. In the first 2 minutes, we went down bad. So, I think, and I said this yesterday, I think they were trying to get him to get hot pretty quickly and to knock down a couple threes. Didn't happen. It costed the team because they went right back down and scored on us. So I think you say, listen, all right, scrap that. Didn't work. Just go back to the original starting 5. And, Dean Wade will provide good defense. So that way, in case if we do miss shots, we're not going to go down almost 10 in the first couple minutes right off the bat. And now we have to play a massive catch-up game for the rest of the game. So I think he goes back to Dean Wade and says, yeah, that was the dumbest idea I could have had. Could have cost us the game, and we probably would be down 3-2 if we didn't switch it up quickly like we did.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm in agreement. You guys we're all thinking on the same page here. And it was just, it was kind of surprising that coming out of the halftime locker room, they stuck with the starting 5. They kept with the Strus in the lineup. I really didn't understand that. Although when they came out, they started to get some. Well, actually, I take it back. I believe they fell down another 5 points. They were down.
We gave up 6 straight points to open the second half or something.
Right, and it was not looking good, and I was nervous. I think we all were a little bit there. So I'm glad that they obviously made the push, and hopefully, I think you have to be able to adjust and adapt. I like the fact that Kenny was trying to think about that, but there were some other things that were real head scratchers during the game. The decisions that were being made on the lineups, some of the choices of having Sam Merrill bringing the ball up court, kind of stranding him. What in the world is Jared Allen trying to do dribble off of an inbound there? That was just, it made no sense. It really made no sense there. Speaking of others in the lineup, Evan Mobley has 23 points, tied for the team lead in scoring in points. But I'd argue Jared Allen was more valuable with his contributions last night. So my question is this, guys. For as much crap as we give and Jared Allen takes from the fans and media, if you had to choose to keep either Mobley or Allen, who would you keep if there were options to trade or move on from one of the two? Mike, I'll go to you first. What do you think?
Personally, I would keep J.A. as much as I've asked many times for him to no longer be on this team. I think if you're keeping one, I think, and this might be the wrong reason, but Mobley gets you more in return. Like
it's just a thought. It's a choice. It's not, it's just your opinion. It's all good.
You're going to get more in return for Mobley than you are Allen. So, yeah, that's probably the route I'll go. But they definitely need to be split up. If the Cavs don't get at least to the conference finals this year, they need to do what they did with Garland and Mitchell in the backcourt. They split them two up, and they're going to have to think about splitting Mobley and Allen up. And you're probably going to look at names like Giannis from the Bucks. I don't know what else you'd have to package to get that done. I know you'd have to get under the second apron first to be able to include multiple players in that trade, because that's how the second apron is. But that's the kind of move I'd be looking to make.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. I'm with you on that. Where do you stand on it, Drew?
I mean, I'm in agreement too, because like Mike said, you're going to get the most from Evan Mobley in a trade deal. So And plus, too, looking at the plus minuses, it seems like the team plays a lot better when Allen's on the floor and Mobley's off the floor. So, I think that speaks volumes when Allen's on the floor. He does more. He does better. He's able to play a little bit more freely. And Mobley, I think what kills him is just the lack of shooting. I know they tried to get him to shoot threes and trying to get him that to be a big that can shoot, and it's just not working. Granted, he did go 3 for 3 from 3 last night, but how many times are you going to see that again? Probably another 1 in 80 games or something. So I wouldn't take that package. I'd just take the package of, hey, we can get maybe Giannis or someone better and bring him in. Again, you could probably get a bigger veteran who could be a lot more effective in that spot. But like I said, when Mo's off the floor, the plus minus when Jared Allen's on the floor with the starting 5 or with anyone else is so much better, so much higher. And I think it just allows him to play more freely, get open, make plays. And Jared Allen's still a very good defender. So
he is. He made his presence felt, and we talked about where was he to be found in Game 4 down the stretch when the Cavs couldn't grab a rebound, and we had been defending so well in a game where neither team could shoot the ball well. It's crazy to me that how there's the highs and the lows where suddenly we can't make. Neither team can make a shot in Game 4, yet Game 5, both teams are lighting it up. It's kind of crazy. I don't know. It's something. I think the rims weren't calibrated right. Mike, I think you mentioned that when we were watching Game 4.
I did. It was like the Bayern Munich PSG Champions League game, though. Like last night, neither team wanted to play any kind of defense. It was like whoever can get the most points is going to win. I know you have to score more points than your opponent, but it was kind of that game. Yeah. We're going to outshoot the other team. We're going to outscore the other team.
Right, absolutely. And we'll get to teams that can't outscore the others in a moment, that when we start talking about some Guardians. Game 6 tomorrow night. Guys, I just want to get your thoughts on this and predictions. I think to close out our little post-game show there last night, Mike, you got in a parting shot, Cavs in 6. So, Game 6 tomorrow, do the Cavs close out the series? Doesn't matter whether or not Brandon Ingram is playing for the Raptors, Mike.
Me personally, I think it's all on the mindset of the Cavs. The Cavs turn up to that game tomorrow with the mindset that they're going to close it out and that they're going to give full effort to do so. I think the Cavs have too much for the Raptors, whether Brandon Ingram plays or not personally. But I just think it's all based on how the Cavs approach it. I mean, the mindset they go into that game. If they play like they did in Game 3, I think it was.
Oh, that was lousy.
Oh, you lousy, exactly. Then we're going to be coming home. They will be coming home for Game 7, regardless of Ingram's playing or not, because one of their bench guys will just completely kill us again, like they did last
If Jacoby Walter and Jamal and Shed start beating us, I'm going to lose my mind. And then Jamison Battle. Why didn't you do that at Ohio State? Why did Ohio State stink if you can shoot like that, you turd?
But why can't our role players perform on the road in the playoffs? That's what I don't understand. Why can they only do it at home?
That's a great question, Mike. And so I think if we looked at probably the box score of like the Cavs 2016 championship Game 7 on the road, who really did much off the bench?
Didn't the big three get like 100 points between them nearly?
Well, we won 93-89, so if they did, no, but yeah, I think
they got about 90 points between them.
They pretty much had, except for
didn't Kyrie and LeBron get like 40 points each or something?
That was Game 5. Game 5. They both got 40, but I think Iman Shumpert had a 4-point play, a big 4-point play, if I recall correctly. But outside of that, it really was all on the starting 5 between LeBron, Kyrie, J.R. Smith, Kevin Love a little bit, but even Kevin Love's stat line was not great. So I think that, the role players, it's tough on the road. It is difficult on the road. We just need somebody to show up. We got enough veterans to do it, a la Schroeder, Strus, and such. Drew, where do you sit on this? Will the Cavs close out the series? Does it matter whether or not Brandon Ingram plays? Do they win regardless? What do you think?
I think they can, because I'm in the frame of mind that Toronto's not going to shoot like they did last night, where they're not going to be 50 or 60% from 3 and 50, 60% from the field. That's once in a while for Toronto, and that was once in a while for them during the regular season too. They're not a great shooting team.
Mm-hmm.
I expect them to shoot kind of like they did in game 4, where they shot like 12% from 3 and more like 30% from the field. It's where we just got beat in the post, and that's where we got beaten all night long. And obviously the massive 20 turnovers that we've dropped. So, if you keep the turnovers to a minimum and you're able to slow them shooting wise like you did in game 4, I think you have a huge opportunity to close this thing out. And like Mike said, you have to go into that game like this is a business, man. Like, you got to go in this thing and you got to close the deal. You can't.
Like it's game 7.
Yeah, treat it like it's a game 7. You can't. Yeah,
with that mindset that you have to win.
Yeah, you have to win. If you lose, it's over. So you gotta put in that mindset. You gotta win. So if they come in with that mentality, there's a great chance that they could close this thing out. And again, it starts with not turning the ball over 15 to 20 times.
Well, right. Don't try and do too much, guys.
Yeah.
I don't try and play hero ball. Play as a team. Do what you guys know how to do best, and they should come out. I'm going to go on the positive side. I believe the Cavs will close it out in Toronto, whether or not Brandon Ingram plays. They should be able to close this out tomorrow evening, 7:30, of course, on Amazon Prime. Moving on from the Cavaliers, I guess we'll talk, since I kind of mentioned it, teams that can't outscore their opponents. The Guardians, hey, they ended a 4-game skid yesterday, a 3-1 win over the Rays. And I believe Detroit won today, so I believe we're tied with Detroit at 16-16 in first place in the AL Central. And that is just, when you look at it, 16-16, that's first place. Well, that's great. That is just great.
That's peak AL Central right there.
Don't worry, we've been below 500 for one day of the season so far, because we dropped below it before yesterday.
Right.
Back to 500. So
yeah, we certainly have had. We've discussed it ad nauseum. The Guardians certainly had a difficult schedule to open the season.
They've tanked. They've gone all the way down to like 19, 20 defeats now. They've just dropped.
They fell off a cliff.
I have to scroll now when I look at the standings to find the Twins.
Yeah, they certainly started out right, and they just fell apart after that. But in the win yesterday, not much run support. Another good performance by Gavin Williams, and the Guardians won with pitching. And Mike and I think, Mike, I figured out our discussion. We were talking about who the leading hitter is on the Guardians. So I believe it's because it's you have to average 3.1 at bats per game or something like that. So Daniel Schneemann has the highest batting average. Ryan Rocchio, maybe it's a qualification type of thing, but let's go with Schneemann.
Hedges is in the middle between the two.
Yeah. If I told you that Daniel Schneemann was the leader in team batting average at the end of April, would you have laughed at that, guys?
Oh, yeah. I would have laughed right into your face.
The guy doesn't even have a position. He's a utility guy, basically. If you go to all the websites, he says his position is just utilities. He doesn't even have a standalone position.
That's crazy when you think about it, because obviously the players that we would have expected to be hitting well are Steven Kwan and Jose Ramirez, and they are both struggling. And that is worrisome. Hopefully, I believe Jose, we've seen him do it where he has started off slow and he eventually gets into gear and gets things going. Steven Kwan, we've seen, though, in past seasons where he gets out to a hot start and then he falls off toward the end of the season where he just looks worn down. There was discussion or a question on Cleveland Sports Radio talking about did maybe moving to center field and maybe the extra responsibilities there. Does that have anything to do with it? What is going on? Do you guys have any theory on what is happening with Steven Kwan and whether or not he's going to be able to break out of this funk? Mike, what do you think?
I don't know, but didn't he have a bit of a injury, like a slight concern, like
something with his neck up in Toronto. Like he said maybe he slept on it wrong or something. And I noticed that they did the thing. Physical therapists will do it cupping, and it's like a suction deal. So I don't know what the story is, but
didn't they change his swing as well or something? Didn't he go back to some kind of old swing or something? Or am I making it up?
I think we were discussing that. That sounds right. Drew, does that sound familiar to you, or was that?
I was the one who brought it up. Yeah, so it looked like it because if you watch closely, me and a buddy were talking about it, and he kind of reverted back to his old swing where he wasn't hitting for a lot of power, but he was making a good enough contact just to get the ball through the gaps and get on base and whatnot. Because last year, Jose helped him work on his hitting and whatnot, and they gave him like a big leg kick. And if you notice now, his leg kick isn't so large. It's back to like a small little kick, and it's just a normal level swing that he's had when we first brought him up, and that was making him so effective. So I think he's going back to, well, this worked before. It's probably going to work again. So just to get on base and be the leadoff hitter that I know I am, let me just get back to the old swing, and because it was working. So let me get back to it.
Yeah, he's definitely got to get back to something. It seems just get on base and set the table. That's the first thing you have to do is you've got to start doing that. Mike, you've talked a lot about the lineup, and we'll get to that. Just the holes in the lineup. There's problems there.
Manzardo's went 13th in our position players when it comes to batting average, and he's batting cleanup, and he's doing a terrible job at it.
Oh, it's brutal. It's absolutely
you
brutal.
need to move him down the order, like. So
well, I think you need to move him down the order. Down I-71.
Give him a bit of freedom, less pressure having to hit behind Jose and just see if he can get out of his.
Yeah. You can just send him straight down I-71 to Columbus.
Well, wasn't he batting towards like 6 or 7 last season or something?
Maybe, but he also was not getting the regular amount of play.
Well, yeah, but he was hitting a lot better last season when he was batting more lower in the batting order.
And it's quite possible. And then when you look at the batting stats, are you surprised that we are even at 500 at this point?
Yes and no, because I think the pitching has really came in clutch for the starting 5 have really come in big time. I know Bybee started off slow, and so did I know obviously Gavin did a little bit too, and Slade Ciccone. I mean, Gavin pitched one bad game. I'll give him the Seattle game where he pitched horribly, but because he watched 8 people. But I mean, after the first week or so, I mean, Slade came around last game that he pitched, and he looked really good and effective. Bybee has allowed only 2 runs in those last few games, but again, the thing that's been killing us is the lack of run support, because these pitchers have been really doing well of getting 2-1, keeping it a 1-2 run game. And next thing you know, we get bases loaded, no outs or 1 out. We can't even drive in a single run to save our life.
That is maddening. That is absolutely maddening. I mean, Mike, if I were to tell you the staggering, the fact that Daniel Schneemann is our leading hitter, would you even expect this team to be 500?
Yep,
you just said it. You just answered it right there with that.
I kind of do actually, because I always thought the pitching was going to be the key for this team, and but I think it's as much as we've been on about privately about Tanner Bybee, and how he's not the ace, and we can all agree he's probably 3rd best in this rotation behind Gavin Williams and Parker Messick.
Yeah,
in his last 7 starts, he's given up. What is it? 16
runs.
runs in total.
Yeah.
7 starts. He gave up 8 in one game and 3 in the other, and he's given up 5 combined in the other 5 starts. But his run support has been terrible. He's literally been getting no run support at all. So we've been losing all those starts because of it. But like I've been saying, the key number for this team is 4 runs. If they can score 4 runs on a nightly basis, they'll win more games than they lose, because the pitching is good enough to protect that kind of offense, but it's just getting there. If you can score 4 runs twice every 3 days or whatever, you'll win a lot of series. But it's just getting the offense to that point where they get those clutch hits. How many games in the last week we got 2 guys into scoring position with like 1 out, and all you've needed is like a sack fly to get at least one run on the board, and the guys are just striked out. Like,
and what's funny is all of those situations, including obviously the past 2 Rays games, not yesterday, but the last 2 before that, that was literally the situations where I was there Monday and it was second and third, 1 out, bottom of the 8th. You needed 1 run to tie the game going into the 9th, and you struck out twice. I believe it was Valera and someone else struck out. So you struck out twice. And then yesterday you had the same situation, or not yesterday, but the day before you had the same situation where bases loaded, 1 out. And it was a 2-1 game. And again, all you needed was a sac fly to tie the game in the bottom of the 8th inning. And you struck out once, and and then who was, I think it was Schneemann. He flew out to deep center. I was like, see, that was the ball that we needed, the batter before.
Yeah, it's just bad luck. All right, so let me throw some stats out here at you guys. And this is according to teamrankings.com. They've got all these stats in here. According to teamrankings.com, the MLB left on base per game. Yeah. The Guardians have the 6th, I guess it's the 6th least. Yeah, it would be the 6th least. We leave 14.13 on base per game. Now, again, some games we can't even get it. We get like 1 or 2 hits, so it's hard to leave.
Worst. That's essentially 6th worst, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like Arizona leaves 12.52 on base. The worst offender, or the lowest, is Chicago. They leave 18.55 on base.
Wow.
Per game. So they're leaving a lot out there. But the fact of the matter is we don't get that many hits. In terms of batting average, as of this morning, the Guardians are 20 or runs per game. The Guardians are 3.84 runs per game. Now, Mike, if you said we were getting 4 per game, that would only get us up to 25th, right? Boston is
our pitching, like our starting pitching is giving up like 0, 1 or 2 runs a game most games.
Right.
And then if you can give them run support, it puts less pressure on the bullpen when they come in, because the problem is our pitcher staff at the moment is having that pressure of having to basically pitch a near perfect game. Like, you can't expect the team to like give up maximum 2 runs. Like, you can't.
Absolutely not. In terms of runs per game for opponents, the Guardians are 6th best. They give up 4.09 runs per game. The best is the Dodgers, followed by the Yankees, the Braves, the Rangers, the Mariners, and then the Guardians. Guardians at 4.09 runs per game. Imagine if the Guardians could simply get
company too.
So what was our runs per game against average then?
Runs against, so they score 4.09 runs against us. That's how many our runs against. Our runs for is 3.84.
So if we broke even at that, it would meet my 4 runs against, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just kind of interesting when you look at the stats and you go, God, can we just? I think the old argument or the debate or discussion point about the Browns was, if we could just get average quarterback play, if we could just get average hitting, then maybe we'd be all right.
And if the Cavs could get average defense, they'd be in a lot better spot.
Oh my gosh, Mike! Yeah, you had to throw that out there. The big news this week, though, for the Guardians is their former number 1 overall pick, Travis Bazzana, called up from Columbus. Juan Brito sent down. Bazzana in 2 games, I believe, over 6. He did get intentionally walked in the 9th inning. Game 2 days ago. So that was kind of interesting. But guys, I guess, Drew, what's your level of excitement and any expectations for Travis Bazzana as he gets a little more settled in?
I mean, I'm excited because I don't have to watch Juan Brito on my team anymore.
That too. That as well.
And Gabriel Arias. So the level of excitement is actually pretty high, but the expectations, I mean, he's a rookie. So it's not like I'm going to be like, oh, he's got to do this and this and this to, like, he's going to be a rookie. He's going to play like a rookie. I mean, we saw the missed double play he had where he
couldn't get it out of his glove or something.
He short-armed it. He kind of like went underhand, and he kind of just missed Schneemann or Rocchio or whatever. But again, Gavin said rookies make mistakes. That's one of them. I told him, hey, relax, you're fine. You're gonna make those mistakes as a rookie, as a young ball player. Don't worry about it. So I'm not expecting him to be like, oh my god, this guy's gonna hit like 300 and he's gonna be batting like a 900 OPS. Like I'm not expecting that. I'm just expecting him to just do enough and just help out whenever he can. Because like the balls that he's hit weren't bad. I mean, he had the one that looked like it was going to be a bomb, and then it just blew down because the wind just changed directions. It just blew right back at him. And then he had one that was going to go right through the hole, and Richie Palacios made a great diving stop, and that was another great hit right there. So he had a couple of chances where he was going to get hits, but again, sometimes defense is playing well enough, and you get robbed. And so he's getting closer and closer to that hit, and it's going to come soon enough.
Right. Was it who was it, or did you send the stat about the average the level of defensive play against? Was that you, Mike, that sent that to me?
Yeah, like us, I think ours was like 17, and then
it was crazy.
Like 5 or 6.
The way these teams have been playing defense and fielding has been so over the top and amazing. It's kind of unreal. Mike, where do you stand on Travis Bazzana? Excitement level, expectations?
I've been calling for him to come up since spring training.
Well, so we've all been calling for him to come
all
up.
of us have, yeah.
It's like I'm not gonna. I was gonna joke and say, it's unfortunately he's not a catcher, but
right.
Or that he can't play first base because that would then Bo Naylor or Manzardo wouldn't be in the lineup. But at least he's making contact. Like unlike those two guys that I just took a dig at.
Yeah.
Like at least he's actually making contact and hitting the ball, even if it's getting caught in the outfield or a great defensive play that's denied.
It'll come.
He's not swinging and missing and striking out every at bat.
I'd rather him hit into the outfield to get caught out with the what's it called?
The warning
track. On the warning track.
Yeah. Then swinging at the top of the zone, and
it's just been a terrible windy day. That's not his fault.
Well, you know what, guys, you meant
walks though as well. Like,
he got a couple walks already. He's like 3 walks or something. Yeah.
Well, and then Kevin Cash decided to be a pussy in his debut by putting him on, intentionally walking him when he had a chance to tie the game. Was it tie the game? If I remember correctly, there was someone in scoring position. And they decided
it was to tie the game because it was the second Rays game, and it was to tie the game, and he walked Bazzana to get to not Delauder. It was somebody else.
Was it Quan or I mean, no, it seemed no. You know what? You're right. He walked him. Yeah. He had to face Delauder, Mike. You were saying because Delauder, I think he struck out, and then Jose came up.
Yeah, because I said to you guys privately, it's a bit of a choice really, because like as long as there's no double play ball in play, you're guaranteeing facing Jose if you walked Bazzana, and I was a bit surprised that you did it, but.
Yeah, that was
doesn't like fun apparently.
Apparently. What's the over under on when Bo Naylor gets sent down? Will he be sent down before the end of May? I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say he gets sent down before the end of May. Mike, what do you think? Will he be sent down?
I might have to create one of those counter websites.
You may actually have to do that. What do you think he'll be sent down before the end of May?
Well, if it was down to me, he would have been sent down a month ago.
Well, I know that, but I
don't know because they've given him. Is he in year 4 now? Right?
3 because he came up in the middle of 23.
Okay, and
it's been long enough.
Let's be honest, he hasn't really improved, has he?
Yeah.
Not exactly. He has not turned into what we had hoped. Drew, what do you think? Over under on the end of May.
I'm gonna go with. I'll go with the over because I think a lot of it depends on Cooper Ingle and when he's back and healthy and playing again. Because again, I think with how long Ingle's been out so far, I think it's like a 10-day IL stint or something.
Right.
But if Ingle comes back and he's still hitting like he is, there's a good chance it'll be end of May, maybe the first week or 2 of June. You see
none of those guys though are on the 40 man. So if they do decide to send Naylor down rather than DFAing him, they're going to have to make a 40 roster move because all those catcher prospects are not on that list.
Well, and that's the thing to do DFA them instead of dropping them down.
Ooh, that's difficult.
Or do you decide, okay, one burrito, we've seen enough, Bazzana's playing well, you just DFA him and take him off the 40 man and maybe he comes back after he elects free agency and doesn't get picked up. Like,
that's true.
These are all good questions. It's only been a month of baseball, guys.
Mm-hmm.
The Guardians, arguably at 500, have done as well or better than expected. If they continue to stay in contention, keeping in mind the pitching we've got and so on and so forth, do you think that the front office this year would make a move to a big swing, as it were, to try and make a push for the World Series? Mike, or will they remain stubborn and frugal?
It's a really tough one because we've got the lock. Is it lockout, lockdown?
Yeah, a lockout and potential lockout and a labor stoppage is a distinct possibility.
So I don't know if they will because I think they might wait until they find out what the terms are. But if they do, this is really disappointing for everyone. I don't think they'll add offense. I think they will try and, especially with the situation with Class A, I think they might try and add like an Andrew Miller kind of move to help the back end of the bullpen.
Yes, it or not. Absolutely. They need to do that. Where do you come out on that, Drew?
I don't think they will, per se, because, again, the lockout could be a massive, like, hey, we don't have to pressure ourselves in doing something now. We've locked up Jose for another 7 years. So it's not like we have to do anything right now. Plus, too, you have the Dolans who are getting ready to leave their deal within the net, basically just after the lockout anyways. So it's the Blitzer era at that point. And you wait for the Blitzer era to come in and say, like, hey, look, now we can actually do something and we can actually make some moves because this guy might not be afraid to spend some money and make some bigger decisions. So I think it could be the Dolans are like, hey, listen, this is it for us. We're not going to spend much more money or anything. We're going to try to save as much as we can, retire, get out of the game, and give everything to David Blitzer.
Slightly, they'll lose a fraction of $1 billion. Give me a break.
Hey, these are billionaires, man. They could care less.
The thing is, as well is, right, so George Valera's just been sent down now.
Yep.
Because he's not getting regular at-bats. The only time he's coming in is when they want him to pinch hit with guys in scoring position.
To strike out.
Right?
Yes.
To strike out, yeah. So he's not getting regular bats. So if you go and make a trade on the offense, so to improve the batting lineup, right? They're then going away from their original plan of trying to see what they've got from their younger guys like CDL, Bazzana, etc., Kafus, whatever, yeah?
Right.
You're going to be taking bats away from one of those guys if you do it, and that then goes against what their plan was coming into the season. So I just can't see them, even if you take away the financial aspect, I just can't see them actually making that kind of move.
Well, that's disappointing. That is disappointing. Speaking of disappointing or not exactly disappointing, first of all, you won't be disappointed. Want to make sure everybody knows that the Land Multimedia Group is proudly partnered. Sponsor is Dick's House of Sport. Be sure to head out to Dick's House of Sport in Strongsville for all your athletic wear need. All kinds of awesome stuff out there. If you want to get fitted for golf clubs or go rent the virtual golf machine. I mean, they got all kinds of stuff. They got batting cages. They've got fields out there. It's pretty awesome. So again, just a friendly reminder that Dick's House of Sport is a proud partner and sponsor of the Land Multimedia Group. The Columbus Crew, I want to jump to them and we'll do a little footy talk here a little bit, and then we'll swing back around to our favorite Cleveland Clowns in a moment, because as per the usual, they are clowning it up. But the Crew, they win in the U.S. Open Cup last night, and generally they've won a couple of league games in a row, and they win the U.S. Open Cup game. Drew and I were talking about this a little bit before. Did things seem to be turning around? Do you feel like they're now headed in the right direction, Mike?
Who's going first?
Oh, Mike.
So yeah, the Crew have actually won 2 straight MLS games at home in they beat the Galaxy 2-1, and they beat the Union, who didn't the Union have like the best record in the regular season last year, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So they beat them 2-0. They're looking to close the streak at home against Minnesota at the weekend. 3 straight league games wins. They lost 1 game between the cup games as well on the road. But they're into the quarterfinals of the US Open Cup, and I believe they'll play New York City.
Yes, that is correct.
That is correct. In the next round. And I actually looked at the remaining teams in there. I can't remember off the top of my head. And to be honest, the Crew should be able to win this tournament, in my personal opinion. Looking at who's left, like the likes of Inter Miami are obviously not in it, and some of the other bigger teams. So I definitely feel like it's competition. The Crew, even though they're going to use a lot of their rotational players, can still win. As for the league, they need to like the start of the season, right? They really struggled at home. Like they scored 1 goal in their like first 4 home games or something.
Right.
Games. But they now need to carry this momentum from the last 2 home games on the road, like, and actually win these games rather than like dropping points. So, but a bit of surprise really, because Abu Ali got that season-ending injury, and somehow the Crew started winning after he got injured. So I don't know how that came about, but I don't know what to expect really, because MLS is such a weird league because there's like no consistency really between.
No, not at all.
The best team one year could be the worst team the next. Like, it's like, or some random team can just go and win the whole thing. Right? LA Galaxy were rubbish for years. My best mate's a Galaxy fan because of David Beckham, and they were terrible for years. Then, not last season, the season before, they won MLS Cup, and then last season they finished bottom of the conference.
Yeah, that is
like, it's like how is it that inconsistent? So I don't know, but the Crew are in a play-in playoff, because obviously I think don't like 8 and 9 or something have like an extra like playoff game or something, and they're currently in that spot. But I think they're on like 12 points from 12 games or something.
Yeah, I mean they're up to, right now. They're up to look. They're sitting currently in the Eastern Conference. They're 8th with 12 points, a +1 goal differential. New York City FC also 12 points, but a +3 goal differential. But again, they're on the right track, at least it appears, or sounds. I mean, we'll have to wait and see, but that's positive.
But there's one thing I want to say about the MLS is they need to get rid of this playoff format. It's a joke. Like last year, right? The Crew outscored their opponent, I think, across the 3 games, if I remember correctly, goal scored, but lost to the 3rd game. Because of the format, they got eliminated, and it's like, it's not even aggregate. It's 3 games.
They changed it. I think it was 2 seasons ago, last year, 2 seasons ago, where it used to be like, like watching the Champions League, where it's like aggregate. Once you get to like the round of 16, whatever, it's like, okay, 1 home, 1 away. It's aggregate score. Whoever wins the aggregate moves on to the next round, whatever. Then you're like, oh, let's make it like the NBA or like the MLB. We'll make it like a best of 3,
a series,
like a best of 3, and then we'll do this. And it's like, it just makes no sense because, like Mike
but they only
said,
do it for the first round. It's only for the first round as well, so it's pointless.
Yeah, it's like,
if you're going to do that, extend the playoffs and do it until at least the whole thing, or until at least the final.
Because like it makes no sense. Like Mike said, it's like, oh, the Crew outscored the opponents, but we still lost because we didn't win the games.
And the thing is, it gets decided like by penalties as well. Like if it goes straight to penalties as well after 90 minutes.
That's crazy. That just makes no sense. You
could technically win one of the 3 games like 3-0, and then you could lose the other 2 on penalties, and you wouldn't go through.
Right. Yeah, it's a bit odd. Drew, what do you think? Do you think the Crew is starting to turn a corner and headed in the right direction now after the slow start?
I mean, yeah, like Mike said, it started off bad. I mean, we got a fun goal fest in the first game against Portland in Portland. I think it was like a 3-2, 4-3 kind of game. It was a very high scoring affair, and then things kind of dwindled down a little bit afterwards. And then the Abu Ali injury hurts, but again, you gained Mo Farsi back last weekend, so that's a big plus. That's a guy who gets down the wing very fast and plays good balls in, and can beat defenders 1-on-1. So that's a huge get back after losing Abu Ali. To answer the Open Cup question, the teams left are Orlando, Atlanta, Columbus, New York City, St. Louis, Houston, Colorado, San Jose are the remaining teams in the Open Cup. But for the Crew, yeah, I think things have gotten a lot better. I think Rydstrom found the system that works in the last few games. He's found he finally found what's working, and he found the right people in the right spots. And, they looked like the Crew of old, where they're dominating possession like 60-40, 65-35 or whatever. So they're starting to hammer the possession. They're starting to outshoot their opponents. I think, and I could even look this up too, but the last home game they've had against Philly, it was 60-40 possession for the Crew, 1.02 expected goals to the Phillies, 0.80, 7 total shots, 4 on target. So, I mean, they played a lot better. They looked a lot better. And then against the Galaxy, again, it was another mix of a 60-40 possession, doubling LA shots, doubling their shots on target, doubling their opponents or touches in the opponent's box. So it seems like things are a lot more flowing now, and I think they're getting back to the way it used to be.
Yeah, because I've checked the results from the season, and in their first 5 league games, it was a loss, draw, draw, loss, loss.
Yeah.
And since then, it's been win, draw, loss, win, win. So they're kind of finding the form.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
but still early on. It's only 10 games into 34 games.
Exactly. That's why I asked, because I'm like, it's early in the season, but I know you guys were obviously not happy with how they had started out, and I was hearing and seeing the complaints, and so I thought I'd ask the experts here. Speaking of teams that haven't come into form necessarily, our Tottenham Hotspur, they finally got a win in the 2026 calendar year in the Premier League, but they are still in the relegation zone. They still sit 18th. I just want to ask you guys this. So with what's coming up, we've got Villa this weekend.
Yep.
On Sunday, Aston Villa, for those of you who aren't familiar with the Premiership. Guys, do you feel like this team, with all that it's gone through, that they can somehow find a way to salvage the end of this season and avoid relegation? Drew, why don't you give this one a crack first?
I mean, it's really tough because, with the team's injuries and how things have been going, you just don't know for certain. I thought we got a lucky break against Wolves to get that goal from Polina. And then, you lose Chavi. Yeah.
You lose defensive-minded player.
Yeah, it's definitely not great. Then you lose Xavi Simons, obviously tears his ACL, and I think just after the goal. So it's just horrible. But according to the Spurs web, Aston Villa's Amadou Onana looked to have picked up a hamstring injury. So looks like he's not going to be playing on Sunday, which is a big blow for Villa because he's an important piece for Villa. So, and I saw a couple West Ham fan pages be like, well, Villa is trying to choke it against Tottenham, or they're trying not to. It's like, well, also too, Villa.
I think Villa are going to rest players, mate, as well for the second leg.
Yeah, because they just played today in a what is it, the Europa League
semis? Yeah,
and they just played in the semi, and they're in the semifinals against Nottingham Forest. So they just played in the Euros today, or Europa League today, and then they, like Mike said, there's a high chance they're going to rest players on Sunday because they play again Thursday in the second leg. So,
and they literally need one win basically to guarantee Champions League football for next season. Villa do.
Yeah, and they need one win to guarantee Champions. So they can look at this game like, it's against Spurs. Like we could care less. So that could work into our favor quite a bit. So, and who do West Ham play again? They play Arsenal, don't they?
So West Ham's last 4 games are Brentford away, Arsenal at home.
Oh, it's Brentford, then Arsenal.
Newcastle away, and Leeds at home. I personally think Spurs need 7 points from the last 4 games because
yeah, I agree.
Because I think Arsenal will beat West Ham.
Yeah,
and then from the other 3 games, I can see them winning 1 and maybe getting 2 draws, which would put them 7 points above us. So we would need 7 points from our 4 games. Then it would go down to goal difference.
Yeah, we basically need to match them.
That's kind of how I'm looking at it. I don't think they'll beat Brentford. I think they might get a draw. They'll lose to Arsenal.
Yeah.
Newcastle hopefully can get a point against them. And then if they beat Leeds, that means we need 7 points. So we need to beat Leeds and Everton at home and then get a point at Villa, ideally. Because even though Chelsea are playing terrible,
it's hard to beat Chelsea.
They have a way of ruining Tottenham seasons.
Yeah.
As much as I don't follow this all as closely as you, I know about Chelsea ruining our seasons.
The Eden Hazard goal still lives rent free in my head.
The Battle of the Bridge when all the fights happened and they won.
Yeah,
the league and...
he had that insane curler.
Weren't we like 2-0 up in that game or something?
We were 2-0 up, yeah. And he hits that nasty curler in the final minutes, and I'm like,
"Oh, you beat us, yeah."
And they beat us.
Yeah, that is brutal. So I mean,
Solanke's out as well. That's never a problem.
Yeah, Solanke's out too. But hey, our top goal scorer gets to play.
Who's that? Polino?
Richarlison.
Oh my gosh,
top goal scorer, baby.
that guy. Who'd have thunk it? At
least he's got great work ethic. I could give him that. He actually plays for the badge and plays for the team, and he's got good work ethic. So I'll take it.
So, what do you guys think about the Peppa Pig?
I loved it.
I love that.
Peppa Pig tears her ACL.
But have you actually heard that Spurs have now got a partnership with Peppa Pig?
Yeah.
I did not know that, but that is amazing. Oh,
yeah, then she tears her ACL right after.
Well, okay, but still, the fact that they've got a partnership with Peppa is awesome. I love that cartoon.
It's because they want. It's because they're trying to find a way to make up the 250 million if Spurs go down. So they're like, oh, how can we sell loads of like kids t-shirts?
Right. It's called desperation.
Yeah, merchandise. Exactly. They're trying to find a way to get more merchandise sold for younger kids to make up for the money they'll lose.
I can't wait for the middle of the shirt. It says Peppa Pig in the middle of the shirt.
Dude, that'll be awesome. Are they going to go out and play muddy puddles?
Yeah.
Oh, and apparently there's going to be like mascots for Peppa Pig Spurs games. Apparently.
Oh, that is unbelievable.
I can't wait for Lincoln City away. Playing in the buckets.
No, because Lincoln City were mocking Spurs when they celebrate their league promotion. They were singing about Tottenham away, and I'm like, please. Another team that's mocking it already.
That's terrible. That is just terrible. All right, let's talk a little bit of the Cleveland Browns. We were all together watching the draft night on draft night 2. We had a lot of time there, big 4 hours discussing all that. So I guess the first thing I just want to review the draft. I'll just go first and just say I think that ultimately the draft was a tremendous success on paper. Mm-hmm. It's all going to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see how it all goes. But I think on paper it was a tremendous success, and I am definitely pleased with the draft that Andrew Berry had. Although he would not give an answer on ESPN Cleveland as to whether or not or how much maybe influence Paul DePodesta had otherwise and how it was different. He tiptoed around that a little bit there, but I feel like dude wasn't able to do as good of a job because of how much Paul DePodesta had his hands in it. What did you guys think overall of the draft, the results of it? Mike, what do you think just as an overall theme and thought of it?
Oh, I love the draft. Even though I spent 5 months banging that drum for Carnell Tate.
I think we all did.
Yeah. I'm actually glad that he went off the board before we had the pick.
It made it much easier.
It made it a lot easier to just accept that he's not going to be playing for the Browns. So, yeah, it played the Browns' hands as well because it allowed them to then trade down, which, funny enough, in my mock that I did about 3 hours before the draft, I actually said the Browns were going to trade with the Chiefs down to 9 to take Spencer Fanner, and that's exactly what happened.
Dude, you're some kind of a wizard over there. I think that you're a wizard, and we won't let anyone in on the secret, okay? We're going to keep it to ourselves. You can't hear us.
Nope.
All right.
Okay.
Log out and log in. Log out. Okay.
Cool.
All right. We'll get back to that. What happened?
I don't know. It just kind of cut out randomly, didn't it?
It's not like anyone did anything. Okay.
His dog stepped on his computer. I don't know.
His dog ate his homework, I guess.
His dog ate his homework, yeah.
All right. Well, Drew, while Mike is reconnecting, what were your overall thoughts on the Browns draft?
I mean, I thought we had the best draft in the league. I mean, I saw all the grades. Everyone was giving us A+, and everyone thought we had one of the top drafts in the league. So, it seemed like we're all on the same page that the Browns had one of the best drafts in the NFL. So I was very happy. I was very excited. Two drafts in a row where I think Barry got it right. And, that's what happens when you don't listen to Paul DePodesta. And, you actually make good decisions.
You make football decisions,
yeah,
and use some common football sense, as it were. Guys, I'll go to each of you. Best pick, your favorite or the best pick, and if there was a pick you liked the least. Drew, we'll go to you. Give your thoughts on that.
My favorite and best pick was Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. I think that was my best and most favorite. I think this kid is really good. And the where you got him in a draft, I thought he was getting taken way before that. And this guy was pretty much projected first round. I mean, everyone mocked him in the first round. Even guys, like Todd McShay and all them, they had him mocked in the Mel Kiper, they had him mocked in the first round. So a lot of these guys had this kid as a first round talent. And the fact that he fell to us where he did was an insane get for the Browns. And I think he's going to be an incredible player for the defense. And he's going to be a big impact of defensive player for us.
Right. And did you have any pick that you liked the least? Not that it's a bad pick, but maybe you liked it the least.
I'm just going to go with one of the two tight ends because, I mean, I get the sentiment of needing a tight end, but did you really need to double up on tight end? I don't really think so. I think you could have gone maybe somewhere else with that pick. Maybe another defensive line, another offensive line. Sure. I think, you could have gone elsewhere with that. But, I mean,
we need a nickelback.
Yeah, nickelback. Yeah, that would have been better, than two tight ends. So I would say one of the two tight ends. I don't think you need both.
Okay, that's fair. Mike, where do you come out on it in terms of like your best or favorite pick and the pick you like the least?
Well, I'm very same with Andrew. Like the most important pick was obviously Spencer Fano because we needed our long-term Joe Thomas replacement finally. But same as him, Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. Like I had him in my mock for us to trade back into the first round from him, and then when we took KC Concepcion at 24 and it got to like picks like 27 or whatever, and he was stood on the board, I was like, can we just trade up and get this guy? Because I don't think he's going to fall much longer on the board. Maybe he'll be an early day 2 pick at worst at that point. But somehow he fell to us at 58 because people clearly don't respect the max. So,
hey, you just go on disrespecting.
Great value there.
Yeah. Was there any pick you didn't like or you thought kind of the least favorable pick in your mind?
Well, at the time, I didn't like the KC Concepcion pick when it happened because I wanted Denzel Boston and we ended up getting him at 39. But then when I reflected on it and then how I realized actually they're actually going to work really well together.
I think so as well. Yeah,
but definitely. Like Andrew said, I don't understand the second tight end. We got a guy from BYU in it, if I remember correctly, with the last pick. Like,
right.
We should just added a corner,
right,
with that pick, like, or maybe a backup edge, someone at the back end of the roster that's going to play special teams. Probably, if you're not going to go for the nickel, because we don't need another tight end. Well, we do need another tight end for camp battle potentially, but. Are both of them going to make the 53? Like,
I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
The Cincinnati one will. Joe
Royer. He was formerly at Ohio State.
Yeah, because he broke Travis Kelce's
record at Cincy.
At Cincinnati, so he'll be pretty good. But yeah, like the last pick we made, I just don't really understand. Like, we should have just gone for someone defense and just hope they turn out to be good.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you guys. Obviously, the Emmanuel McNeil-Warren was a steal. The fact that we got multiple players with first-round grades in not in the first round is
4.
amazing. We got 4 players of first round grades, 2 of which we didn't have to draft in the first round.
If you listen to Daniel Jeremiah's top list or whatever, 4 round picks were like in these top like 28 or 30 picks or something.
Yeah, no, I think we came out really, really well there, and we're building up the roster the right way. Certainly, that Emmanuel McNeil-Warren pick could be very, very helpful. I heard them talking about Justin Jefferson, and they said, who he reminds me of? Oh, yeah, Jacob Phillips. And he was another bust out of LSU.
Yep.
You got the wrong Justin Jefferson.
No, you need the wide receiver, Justin Jefferson.
Right. I mean, or in this, Justin Jefferson was at Bama, right? Because it was Brailsford as the center. Right. Okay, I got
Justin Jefferson's going to be on special teams, and he the linebacker.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, they're not going to rely on him at linebacker, of course. But definitely the second round picks were killer.
What do you think of Jalen Green, though, the Arkansas QB?
I don't know what we're doing. I really don't. But
it's a package thing. I think he's going to be a package quarterback. Do you remember last year when we put Did we put Quinton Junkins in at quarterback in the game? If I remember correctly.
Well, we tried it. We're doing Wildcat with him.
Yeah, so I wonder if we're going to use Jalen Green for plays like that.
I'm not sure. I'd have to look at what I will say is if Todd Monken does some things like he did in Baltimore, we could see anything. Look at, was that Mark Andrews who did the end around touchdown on 4th and 1 and ran 40 yards on us because we stink?
Yep.
Okay.
We also got 2 4th round picks next year as well. That I was talking about.
Right. So I don't know. I'm not sure about that pick of Green. That's a bit questionable.
The thing is, I would say this, like the 6th and 7th round, for me personally, are just priority UDFAs. That's what I call them.
Right.
They're very cuttable. Like no team's scared to cut a 6th or 7th round pick. So if you take a hit on a guy like Jalen Green, who's got very good athleticism traits, and he doesn't turn out, it's only 182nd pick in the draft. Like it doesn't really matter. Like
right. And so
you might as well see what you've got. Like, and if it doesn't work out,
right. So so let me ask you this though. This is something to think about because I want to get into this quarterback discussion. There was some interesting stuff that happened here over the past couple of days.
But the other thing is, you have to, if you want to put him in the practice squad, you have to clear waivers first. So if
bingo.
If you try and put him in the practice squad, another team might try and pick him up.
Bingo, because Andrew Berry said he'd like to keep 3 on the regular roster and 1 on the practice squad, I believe is what he said the other day on ESPN Cleveland. So that would mean you're talking about potentially, as it stands, you've got 4 quarterbacks on the roster or, on the squad. You've got Watson, Sanders, Gabriel, and Green. Well, whomever, they might as well put Gabriel on to try and send him to the practice squad and let him get picked up if he gets picked up on waivers or whatever. Oh, well, so
I was about
be
to say that. That was literally coming to my mind. That was exactly what I was going to suggest. Like, just put Dylan Gabriel in there, and if he clears waivers and comes back, great. And if he doesn't, I will.
Well, I think that's why they got Taylor Green too, was to challenge him for that 3rd QB spot and see like, okay, who's the better QB? Is it going to be Gabriel or is it Taylor Green? Because if it's Taylor Green, then we could just move Gabriel on and say, all right, see you later, buddy.
Right. And you can head down to it. We'll give you the ticket down to Atlanta. And you can go rejoin your buddy down there and all the left-handed quarterbacks in that quarterback room. So that definitely interesting. Things got a little spicy over the past few days in the Cleveland sports media, because first of all, you've got J.W. Johnson, the son of Jimmy Haslam, coming on ESPN Cleveland, and he just and as they mentioned, he unsolicited just goes into a thing talking about how good Deshaun Watson is looking, right? Then you have Mary Kay Cabot reporting that her sources are telling her that he has the edge and he looked really good during that voluntary minicamp. Then she goes on based upon that information and gives her opinion that if that is the case, I would go ahead and name him the starter sooner rather than later, basically. And I'm paraphrasing, as to then get him all the reps with the ones and get everybody ready to go instead of this splitting up reps type of thing. Well, that went over like a lead balloon. And Shiloh Sanders comes out and says,
Is that his brother?
Yeah, that's Shador's brother.
He said, go make a sandwich, Mary, which is that's not exactly that's not cool. And then he does a whole video on Instagram talking about how
he was on Twitch Live, wasn't he? That was from Twitch, if I remember.
It might have been. And basically that Mary Kay gives a bad name to other females in the field. And she's a Hall of Fame. She got an award. She's been doing this for 30 years. And I mean, I feel like that's a little bit of taking out your frustration on her. And she didn't say anything badly or bad about Shador. I really don't get it. I think there's a narrative out there that's in these people's heads, or in some people's. Let me say, in some people's heads, that maybe isn't true. And the media doesn't control anything, right? She's not making stuff up. She's getting information. She's reporting it, and yes, she is editorializing and providing an opinion. But that's her opinion, and you're allowed to do that. What are you going to yell at all the people on ESPN who give their opinion? It just doesn't make sense. Guys, is this crazy? Is this nuts? What is going on here? Mike, have you seen this stuff? What do you think?
What about his reaction or the
reaction? The hate
thing in general.
The Watson thing, the reaction, and
everything.
the hate being spewed at a reporter like Mary Kay.
Well, for the Mary Kay thing, I totally get her job. Like, her job is to go out and report. Like, she's obviously got that information from an insider. Whether she's listened to ESPN Cleveland, what the ownership guy said, and then she's obviously reached out to someone about it afterwards, maybe, I don't know. Like, she's obviously got some kind of source. She's got some kind of source.
Absolutely.
Posting about that. And obviously she's entitled to her opinion on the side. You've got all these programs that on like Fox and ESPN. I don't really watch them, so you probably know the names of them. But they're paid to talk about their opinion. Like, a lot of stuff they talk about, it's not actually factual. They're just opinions. So she's within her own right to then follow up her own tweet from her own story, from her sources, with her own opinion about the situation. Like, and to be honest, I kind of agree. Like, as much as I don't want him on the team,
same here.
I feel like her point is valid. Like, if you're gonna commit to him, as much as we don't want him to, you need to do it as soon as possible to give him the best shot of winning. Whether he's capable of winning or not, that's a completely different conversation. Like, how is he going to play when he comes back? Injury.
Does he have to knock the rust off? Does he still have to knock the rust off? Because that's what I kept hearing. He's got to knock the rust off.
When was the last time he had a good game? Was it the Baltimore game when he was?
Yeah.
No, it was the Cincinnati game where he tore his.
Yeah, when was the last time he had a good game?
Was he having a good game?
No, he was having a mediocre game. The last good game was the Baltimore game where we came back.
Right.
And he had his upper body injury, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And then he came back the next season and was awful those first 6 games.
Like,
and then he
Croce today said that he's more concerned about Watson's injury than his performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is reasonable.
His durability is in question.
As harsh as it is, like, if Watson gets injured, it is whatever, yeah. But if he's available, him not being at that standard is more concerning for me than anything. Like, because like I've said, the Browns just need average quarterback play to be a playoff team. In my opinion, I think if the Browns have average quarterback play this year, they'll be in the playoffs because their team is way better than it was this last year. They were 2-7 in one-score games.
Mm-hmm. It was brutal.
If you can change that to 5-4. That gets you to
that's it.
8 or 9 wins. Like, and you might at worst you miss the playoffs by a game.
Okay,
that's if you get like average quarterback play.
Right. Right. And we're going to come back.
It's down to if you get that or not. Though,
right. And I'll come back to that point about the 8 or 9 wins in a second. Drew, where do you come out on all this? And your thoughts, because you're down there. You're the only one of us who's in Ohio, in the heart of it all, as it were. I mean, what are your thoughts on all of this shenanigans and nonsense?
Well, I know Shiloh's pretty upset that he was cut day one of the Buccaneers after his horrible display in the preseason. Yes. You know, I blame a lot of the Shedeur fans, the ones who are like really like, oh, Shedeur's God and stuff like that, because those are the people that are the problem. Like, and I get it, this is his own family, but this makes Shedeur look really, really bad when it comes from your own family members, like your brother. Yeah, Mary Kay's just doing her job. She has a right to an opinion, as all of us do, and the people at ESPN Cleveland, the people at 92.3 The Fan, whatever. We're all entitled to our own opinions. I mean, we're giving our opinions right now as we speak, so we're entitled to it. Doesn't mean we're right. Doesn't mean we're wrong. Doesn't mean anything. It's just our opinions. She's reporting what she hears. That's it. That's what all reporters do. That's what Grossi does. That's what all these guys do, is they just report what they are told. It's not like they're like, take this as gospel. This is the truth. This is the absolute whole world view truth. Like, so people need to stop taking into perspective of like, oh, she's talking bad about Shedeur. She never mentioned Shedeur's name once.
Exactly.
All she said was, if Watson's available, then there's a high chance he plays, because again, you pay $230 million for him. When you pay that kind of money for someone, they're going to play, whether we like it or not. No matter what he's done, he's going to play. You know, he's not going to sit the bench and rot as a $230 million quarterback. He's going to get games. So that's all she's saying is like, hey, if he's healthy, he's more than likely going to play. And she's getting that from her sources. It's not like, hey, Shedeur is a terrible quarterback. He's not going to play, and I don't want him to play.
Exactly.
And so people got to stop overreacting, overreading, overstretching things. Just look at it as, hey, this is expected. There's a chance Deshaun's going to play. We all knew this coming into the season. We all expected it. It's not news. It's really not. It's just what we already know.
Right. And we, as much as we didn't want it, and I think that's more what it is I think for fans like the three of us, which I think there are a lot of, there's a part of it that is more so not about what happens on the field. It's everything about it. It's the play on the field combined with just the fact that it set the franchise back so far because of all the assets that were given up to get this guy and then to have him come out and poop the bed. And that's the bigger, it's a constant reminder of that. So that, I think that's where we are at with it.
I'm just hoping they're not going to put him out there just to try and prove a point. I'm hoping.
Well, I don't think
if he goes out,
this isn't the
Stefanski ready to perform. Like,
yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think
it's not Stefanski.
Monken has one. Monken might get one shot. He might get a Chudzinski, right?
Do you know what's quite funny? So, do you know we're probably going to speak about it in a minute? The stadium thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know when they did this, the one at the end where it was Monken, Berry, Schlesinger, and Denzel Ward? My first thought was, I wonder how many of them four are going to be still there in the stadium.
Yeah, that's like, Schlesinger, one.
No, that's what my initial thought was. Like Schlesinger, because that'll be year 4, 5.
It'd be year 3 or 4 for him. Or year 4, yeah, it'd be year 4 because he played last year at 25, 2029 is the stadium. So it'd be year 4.
Yeah.
So he'd be right at the end of his rookie contract, basically.
Yeah, and who knows? Who knows how things are going to go.
But let's hope though that Todd Monken plays out and he just outlasts Stefanski, like has a longer tenure than Stefanski did.
Yeah, a longer and more successful tenure than Stefanski. But yeah, so they broke ground in the official ceremonial groundbreaking for Brook Park. That's exciting. They're talking about the potential for the draft coming back because the last time the draft was here was right out of COVID and there were a lot of restrictions. And then Roger Goodell mentioned the possibility of he has no doubt that the stadium will be Super Bowl caliber for the event, but it's up to the surrounding area to have the requisite number of hotel rooms and availability for guests and visitors. I think they'll definitely do that because they're not just looking at the Super Bowl. They're looking at events where they want to bring in things, even in the pictures they've shown, things like the NCAA Final Four, things like major soccer matches, big international events, large concerts. You're going to need all the hotel accommodations. So I feel like that's a great thing. I'm just glad they're moving forward. It was interestingly, J.W. Johnson mentioned that apparently the county at this juncture is like, yeah, they're not Cuyahoga County, even though they're still going to be in Cuyahoga County, is like, nah, we're not going to give any money. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. You do that. You do that there. And Mike, you talked about if some of those one-score games go the other way, we get 8, 9 wins and such. How pissed would you be if we get 8 or 9 wins? We don't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
We don't have an answer at quarterback. And we're sitting in the middle of the first round and we have no idea what's going to be next.
Well,
how pissed and miserable are we all going to be when we go into next year or the season after going,
yeah.
Find me my quarterback.
So how many fourth round picks did we draft in this draft, potentially?
How many did we pick?
Answer the question. How many first round talent did we draft in this draft this year? 4, yeah?
4.
We traded with the Jags last year, yeah? Got an additional pick, yeah?
Right.
If we have to give up a pick in 2028 to move up into it. The thing is, though, the Browns got 2 fourth round picks next year, right? From the draft, yeah?
I think so.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
If they have to give one of them up along with a 2028 first to move up, I think they'll do it.
The problem is, Mike, if they have to move up that much, if they're in the position where they're winning 8 or 9 games, there are a bunch of teams that are going to be ahead of them that are quarterback needy, and they ain't moving. They ain't moving because they're getting their quarterback.
Yeah,
and that's when you end up getting screwed and you end up stealing yourself.
Well, I still think that the Titans are 2 years away. So if you can give them an extra first and a fourth round pick, they're probably going to accept that to move down.
It all depends on how
they might follow our blueprint. They might be, look, if we can get value like we have, maybe they'll take an extra couple of picks to move down 8 or 9 spots, and then we get our quarterback because they don't need one. So if you can give them,
I agree,
assets to move up, because I don't think the Titans are going to drop out like the top 5 picks next year. I still think they're a couple of years away.
Okay,
if you can, if it falls that way, but. Otherwise, what do you do? Like, if you can't find a trade partner and you're sitting at 18-20 because you end up winning a playoff game or whatever, but you still need a quarterback for whatever reason because you decide Watson's not the guy or whatever.
He's not going to be the guy.
I know that. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, so that's why I'm advocating to play Sanders. We're not going to keep Watson after this year. So play Sanders. Either he's good enough or he's not.
Yeah.
Right?
Very much so.
It's up the joint and you're the first in the pick. You're getting a new quarterback. Watson's leaving. He's gone.
I totally agree. If it was down to me, I'd start Shador and hope he plays out. And if he doesn't, you're going to need a quarterback next year regardless. And if you have to give up draft picks to do it, then you have to do it.
Yeah, I hear you. Drew, I think that we're going to bring on, this is a new segment here, guys. We're going to work on this. This is fun. There's a lot of people on social media that say some ridiculous things. And so we're going to do our best to try and have a nominee here for X-Hole of the Week. We've got our X-Hole of the Week. Drew, would you care to set up? Let's add the X-Hole of the Week. We will not give out the identification of the person who wrote this. But the gas prices are going up. So this person says, just throwing my hat in the ring of gas price debates for a second. Live in a place you can walk to the things you need. Build your life around walking. There are tons of cities in Ohio that aren't egregiously expensive while having high walk scores. You, my friend, are the X-Hole of the Week. This is the most ridiculous thing I've heard. What kind of a stupid, tone-deaf thing are you talking about? Really? I don't want to live in the city. In the suburbs, you don't have those kinds of options. What kind of an asinine statement is this?
I mean, it's a bad statement because the person who made this isn't a small person either. They're a bigger person, but I doubt they live in a place where it's very, very walkable. So, the USA isn't a walkable type of place.
Right.
It's a pretty massive place. Now, obviously for me, I live in downtown Cleveland. Downtown Cleveland is very walkable. So yeah,
absolutely.
I don't need a car. I could walk places, but if I need to go to a doctor, I do have to drive to get to the doctor because my doctor is pretty far away. So I kind of have to drive. I can't walk. If I want to go to a grocery store that has more than my local market here in downtown, I have to drive to get to that place. So it's not like I could just go walk, 20 miles to go get food and come back. That's kind of a difficult task, So you forget how big the U.S. is compared to a lot of these places and how separated a lot of these cities are, these places. So it's not like I could just go down the street and just grab a bunch of groceries and come home.
Yeah, and some places you don't want to live in the city. It's more expensive.
Yeah, it's more expensive. Yeah,
you're gonna have a family in the city. I watch these people on this show on House Hunters on HGTV. I'd like to live near the city, the center of the city, and but it's like you got no kids. What you gonna do? Well, you got this whole life planned out here, and you think this is a great idea, and there's no space. There's no space whatsoever, and you are spending a butt ton of money, Mike. I mean. I know in Europe there's a lot less. I would say there's probably a lot less driving. I mean, the cities, just because due to the age, you don't have suburbia like you have here per se, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's as bad, no.
Yeah,
but I don't drive, so.
Well, there you go. Well, but you're in better shape than us.
But they also have
much better mass transit.
They have mass transit, so they have better bus systems. They have better train systems. Well, they have train systems compared to. So, they have different modes of transports that actually help them get around places faster and a lot more effectively. Where, I can't take my local train, further than probably Brook Park.
That'll be the new end of the line there. Although one would think if they do make that an option, or if they do extend it out to Brook Park, will you be able to take the Rapid to the airport?
Yeah, you can already take the Rapid to the airport.
Shoot, that's great.
That's why I said I would take the Rapid to the Browns games, because it's right next to the airport. So,
well, there you go. Because the parking is going to be expensive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not like I could take the Rapid like everywhere I go. It's not like a New York City type of thing where you can take the underground or you can take the underground wherever. And
yeah, it's not like New York, Chicago, Boston,
London,
even DC or whatever that you could do. It's not that way. So that is our inaugural X-Hole of the week. And with that, folks, let's tell everybody what has us going nuclear this week. Mike, why don't you, without further ado, Mike, what has you going nuclear?
I can't say mine because mine's the same as yours.
Well, go ahead. You take yours. I've got a lot of things that have me nuclear. Go ahead, Mike.
So what's got me going nuclear, and you posted it in our chat earlier, actually, and it's basically we're less than a week after the 2026 NFL draft. And we're already seeing people on national radio and online mock drafting for next year. And then you've got people mock drafting the Browns at 4.
How?
And it's like, none of these players have got on the field yet. You don't know if they're going to be good or bad. You don't know what other moves the teams are going to make. You don't know if a team's going to get hit with a Spurs injury record, whether their season's down the drain within half the season because half their rosters on the injured reserve list or whatever. Like, why are people making mocks 3 days after? It wasn't even 3 days. It was like the day after.
Yeah, it was literally a day after.
Plus, you don't know how these guys are going to perform in college. Half of them might not declare for the draft because
exactly
their extra year with NIL money and all this. You don't know, like, why people do this so early on. I just don't understand it, but that's kind of what's got me going nuclear personally.
I appreciate that. Drew, what has you going nuclear? Is it the fact that you thought you had allergies, but in fact you have a cold?
That's exactly what it was. It's this whole allergy / weather type stuff. Living in a place like Cleveland is fun. I get to walk to games and enjoy baseball and basketball and whatnot, and walk to football games too. But man, I first and foremost, I want consistent weather. it's been up in the 70s and now it's in the 40s. And then I think during the week it's supposed to get back up to 60, then 40, then 50, then 30, then 50, then 40 again. It's like, can we just get up to 70 and just stick around there and not move? It's starting to annoy me. I mean, obviously I've lived here my whole life, so obviously I know it's never going to change, but I still love to complain about it because it's fun too. But again, you know, with someone with allergies and asthma, I thought I had just allergies the last 2 days. It's a full-blown cold. So I took some Dayquil earlier this morning. I'm going to take some NyQuil after this and pass out. So hopefully I can get this knocked out of me. I'm sure you guys see me blow my nose a couple times during this and pausing my mic because, you know, I'm sick. So I'm trying my best to feel better. But yeah, that's got me going nuclear is the fact that I just can't shake these allergies. I can't shake this cold. I can't shake anything because the weather doesn't hold up and it's inconsistent and it keeps making things worse for my face and my nose and all my stuff. So I can't get better until the weather gets better.
That is fair. That is fair. And I was actually kind of joking there, and I did not realize that I was going to segue so well into your going.
No, it's perfect.
Yeah, Mike, you definitely, you and I were on the same page about going nuclear in the mock drafts. That's absolutely ridiculous. And this is going to be something that is a little bit more random, but it certainly has me going nuclear. What has me going nuclear is telemarketers or businesses who make blind calls. And this is related to my work. And they
cold calling.
A cold call. And they call because for some reason on Google, my phone number, if they look up the office or the company I work for some reason, if they're looking for one particular city, they'll see this phone number. And it's my number, right? It's my whatever line I was assigned. So I get these calls. They're like, can we speak to the marketing manager? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know who that is. Well, you don't know who it is either. What are you doing? Leave me alone. Quit calling me. Quit making blind calls. Here's an idea. Do some better research. It's a better marketing. The idea of calling people up with no clue who you're calling and then expecting them to have the information or to give you the information is ridiculous. Why don't you do some better marketing? The cold calling, the telemarketing, you got to be kidding me. You got to do better than that. And that is what has me going nuclear.
Yeah.
So guys, this was fantastic. Good times here had by all. We'll be back again next week. And hope everybody tunes in again. Again, thank the sponsor, Dick's House of Sport out in Strongsville, a sponsor of all of the programs on the Land Multimedia Group. I see the Land Multimedia Group, the Saturday morning show. I believe Ernest Biner is going to be on with them. So check out the Land Multimedia Group. Check out Bearded Browns and all the related podcasts to check that out. That should be pretty awesome. They had a great draft party, which Drew was at.
Yep.
And so just glad to be a part of that, and stay tuned for everything else that is going on. And with that, I bid you adieu. For Mike Pellegrini, for Drew Hagenbaugh, I'm Ethan Greenberg, and you've been tuned in to Going Nuclear, full-blown coverage of the Land, part of the Land Multimedia Group.